Hello and welcome again to Communication in Health. I'm Krista Buckland and this lecture is entitled Communication in Health. So we're going to be looking at communication in the health context. So communication in the health context. Health communication involves, in most cases, two people, the practitioner or the health professional and the client or patient. It's important to remember that the client or patient is coming from a fairly vulnerable position, and they're usually seeking health information from the health professional. So the health professional is actually more aware and has knowledge that the client or patient is seeking. However, the health professional does not have all the information because they need to gather the personal information from the client or patient, and in particular to do with their experience and what their health issue is. So there is both a sending and receiving from the health professional and a sending and receiving from the client or patient. And through this process, they need to negotiate a mutual understanding, and that involves exchanging information and ensuring that information is exchanged effectively. The goals of health communication really relates to the International Classification of Functioning, Disability and Health. Now, that's the ICF, which you may remember from Professional Health Competencies Unit. So the ICF highlights that communication is an important domain that facilitates participation and functioning, significantly affecting health. Poor communication can significantly limit outcomes, which can disrupt health and well-being. And communication with your clients is encouraged at all times in a person-centered way. So this is where communication really relates to the ICF, down here in the contextual factors, environmental and personal factors. So in relation to the therapeutic relationship, communication and caring is at the heart of that therapeutic relationship. Communication with vulnerable people can be difficult at times, but it is essential to build rapport. Rapport refers to the connection that we make with our client or patient, listening to the patient, helping them to feel that we respect them, identifying with them, relating to their experience, being able to explain our knowledge in a way that they understand, and building a relationship of trust. I want you to consider how often do we only half listen. So it's really important in a therapeutic sense to listen actively and authentically with our client and patient. How often have you found yourself with your mind wandering in the middle of conversing with another person? Or something that I've experienced is the absolute terror when I've just met someone and I realise I've forgotten their name already and they've only just said it. So I wasn't obviously listening actively and taking in that information. So it is really important to listen and really pay attention to what the client is saying. Often, the reason we tune out to what someone is saying isn't because we're not listening, but because we're already constructing our response. So really try to avoid doing that and listen wholeheartedly to what they're saying and then respond when they have finished speaking. If you really need to, if a client has raised something that's important that you want to discuss and you fear that you might forget your point, maybe very subtly or quickly jot down a keyword just to remind you to come back to that. Listening actively is a skill necessary to develop a strong rapport with someone and to ensure both parties in the conversation have the same message. So one very common strategy to ensure that you've received the message correctly is to relate the message back in your own words. So if a client says something to me, I may then say, if I understand you correctly, this is what you mean. So we're mirroring what they've said in our own words, and then getting them to confirm whether we have in fact understood what they mean. It's really important to recognise that communicating is so important that it may even save a patient's life. So please take this entire unit really seriously. This is a really practical unit that can help you become the best practitioner you can be. That concludes our lecture. Thanks for listening.